Good morning, students, and welcome back. Today we will continue learning history, lesson number 8, tourism and history. In the previous lecture, we have learned about the tourism in the past and the various types of tourism. And today we shall learn about the development of tourism, conservation and preservation of historical places, and professional opportunities in the tourism and hospitality industry. So these points we will cover up today in the lesson. The very first we shall learn about the development of tourism. In this, the crucial issue in the development of tourism is providing proper guidance to national and international tourists about the various aspects of the actual travel, proper social conduct during the tour and during their stay at the destination places. That means the tourist should be first only aware which places they are going, what is the sociality of the people, how people stay, what language, little bit brief idea the people should have or the tourist should have before going to such places. So that guidance should be given. Along with the guidance, there are various facilities the tourists need. So facilities like safe and secure transport should be there. They should be ensured the safety of the tourists, that they are safer to the places wherever they are going. Then availability of good accommodation and hotel arrangement. The budget to the 7-star hotels or 5-star hotels, that should be provided as per the tourist need. Then good washrooms on the travel routes at the various sites. Special attention towards the needs of the specially challenged people. That means to the handicapped people, that should be wheelchair provided. So some facilities should be made if they visit some historical place or whichever places. So this provision should be made. Now let's see what government and the tourist has to take the precautions to preserve the historical heritage sites. So to avoid the defacing or vandalizing the monuments. Defacing means spoiling. Vandalizing means damaging. So the tourists, when they go, they should see that the places are not damaged or spoiled. Then refraining from writing names on walls or carving on trees. So people have habit of going and writing the names on the wall or carving and writing also on the wall. So somewhere they are damaging our historical monuments. So that should not be done. Then avoid painting ancient monuments in garish colors. That means very over bright colors should not be used. Very light colors should be taken for painting and making the precincts filthy. That means precincts means the area around the monuments. So the area around the monuments should be kept very clean and it should not be spoiled up, no garbages, no stinking. So it should be very clean. So whenever the tourist goes, so they have to see that we don't throw any wrapper, we do not spit. The people should not go and spoil the places or damage anything. And not only that, even the government also takes care that there is facilities provided for the people. Everywhere the dustbins are there, people are watching them, cameras are there. So this will help out even the government to maintain discipline into the monuments. The government also takes precautions and also boosts tourism. So what are the factors required or factors taken by the government to boost tourism? So information on the tourist site should be written in English and the local languages. So obviously when people come in Maharashtra, they see the boards are written in English and in Marathi also. So it should be made available for the both languages. So that commonly English is used by people all over India and all over the world. Then pamphlets, guides, maps and history books should be made available to the tourists. So means these books and all should be made available. You must have seen wherever, whichever places we go, immediately they are giving us one small pamphlets, or they are giving us the guidebook, so which is helping us to travel over that place by looking at that map or to the places where we have to visit in that area. Then a guide should be qualified in travel and tourism course. So whoever the guide is, so that person should be having the qualification, he should be qualified, he should have the knowledge about what guidance he is giving. A proficient speaker should be there, having good knowledge of the site and also bilingual language. That means the speaker should also know the language of the common people language, and sometimes the people guide should also know the language what the tourist wanted to listen. So bilingual languages means he should not be only well versed with one language, he should be also well versed with many languages, so that he can make his tourist giving all the information and communicate them properly. So these are the various facilities where the government has to see that should be made to the people or to the tourists when they come. So that is what development of tourism, where the government is taking more and more precautions and facilities providing to the tourist. Now next we shall learn about the conservation and preservation of heritage. It is hard task to preserve and conserve heritage sites. Our country is very rich with historical sites dating to ancient, medieval and modern period. It is also blessed with abundance of nature. India is bestowed with cultural and natural heritage. Cultural heritage means man-made heritage. So the monuments are man-made, forts are man-made, and natural heritage. Natural heritage, which are the heritage what we get it by the nature. So the forestry, or what we can say plateaus, then the karst plateau what we learn. So these are by the nature what we got it, that is not prepared by the man. The Taj Mahal at Agra, Jantar Mantar Observatory at Jaipur, forts in Maharashtra, caves, etc. enrich our heritage of historical monuments. Heritage sites in our country are visited by foreign tourists in large numbers, and it is really, students, more than our Indian tourists, there are foreign tourists who visit to this all historical places. We feel proud that some of these monuments are declared as World Heritage Sites. So the Karst Plateau, Taj Mahal, these are all declared as World Heritage Sites. Now let's see for the preservation of heritage. For the preservation of heritage, we have to make some resolution. That means we have to take some oath. Then when we visit some places, what precautions are we going to take? So it is said that I shall strive to maintain cleanliness of heritage sites. The biggest thing is this only, the tourist goes and spoil it. So that's why the tourist should take an oath that when I visit the place, I'm going to keep the cleanliness over there. I'm not going to spoil up by throwing anything. Then second one is, I shall not do anything which will result in vandalizing of any historical sites. That means such act should not take place that it is going to damage the historical site. Vandalizing means damaging. So there should be no damages done to the historical sites. So we should follow the rules also given. For example, in some places they are saying not to take the photos. So what happens when we take the photos? The flashes are sometimes spoiling up to the natural colors. So that's why there are some restrictions put up. So we also have to think that we have to maintain our heritage. So we have to follow some rules also, and we should not become the part of spoiling the heritage sites. Now let's see about the heritage walks. To go on a tour for visiting historical places is known as heritage walk. That means whatever places of historical places we visit, so that is called as an heritage walks. So we have learned just now in the previous lecture historical tourism, where we saw Gopal Nilkant Dandekar, he used to have the hiking tours. That means walking and going and seeing the forts. So same way, the historical places, when people visit, should walk and go and see, so that personally people can be attached to see the minute things of those particular monuments or forts made. One can experience the thrilling of being a part of history by participating in heritage walks. Heritage walks as an organized group activity has gained popularity in many countries. India has a rich history which can be traced back to many millenniums. Every region of India is full of historical places from ancient, medieval and modern period. The heritage walk organized in the city of Ahmedabad is well known. In the cities of Mumbai and Pune in Maharashtra, such walks are organized regularly. Heritage walks can encourage people to support projects like conservation and preservation of historical monuments. That means we are getting so emotionally attached to our monuments that we wanted to preserve it, and we go on giving the guideline also to the people. So to collect authentic information about them and to publish it to various media. So residents of renowned citizens who have passed away are also part of this heritages. In some cities, blue plaques with the names and other relevant information of such citizens are placed on their residences as a part of heritage schemes. That means they are trying to give more information to the people about the heritage places, and they are promoting or encouraging people to visit our historical places. Now let's learn about the professional opportunities in the tourism and hospitality industry. Hospitality means services what we need. So we need the hotels, we need the food, we need the transport. All this comes into the services. So that is what called as an hospitality. So tourism and hospitality is an industry with potential to create maximum employment opportunities. If managed professionally, it is very stable industry. It has tremendous scope for experimentation and innovation. And a good number of opportunities of employment are available in the tourism and hospitality industry. So various employment opportunities available are related to the hotels, lodging and boarding services. Then there are the shops selling food items and catering services. Then handicraft and cottage industries and shops selling manufactured products. Then transport services like bus, auto rickshaw, taxi increases in the large number. Then the travel agents are there, photographers, we need guides, etc. And such other small related professions are related, many professions are related to the tourism. There are lots of benefits of having the foreign tourist. For example, a country receives money on granting the visa. As the person before visiting the place only the visa is being sanctioned, so the money first only comes before the person visits. Then income is generated from hotel and transport services and food services. Then guides, interpreters, they also get income. Then tourist buys the newspapers, reference books and souvenirs. Similarly, small businesses and job opportunities are available at the local markets. Handicraft and cottage industries get boosted. Increase in demand for locally processed food. Then production and sale of ethnic handicraft goods increases. It increases the income of local artisans, the businessmen and wage earners. Then there are employment opportunities in the hotel, accommodations and in the shops. Now let's see development of tourism in Maharashtra. Maharashtra is a state blessed with rich heritage. There are beautiful ancient times rock-cut caves, paintings and sculptures of Ajanta, Verul and Gharapuri, that is Elephanta. There are many pilgrim centers where people visit like Dehu, Alandi, Jejuri, Pandarpur, Shirdi, Shegaon, Tuljapur, Kolhapur, Nasik, Triambakeshwar, Paithan, Hajimalang, Gurudwara at Nanded, Mount Mary Church in Mumbai, etc. People also visit the popular hill stations of Maharashtra, that is Mahabaleshwar, Panchgani, Khandala, Lonavala, Matheran, Chikaldhara, etc. Then there are dams at Koinanagar, Jayakwadi, Bhadgar, Chandoli, and various sanctuaries are also there at Dajipur, Sagareshwar, Tadoba, etc. So these are the important tourist centers of Maharashtra where people visit in Maharashtra. Now let's see how Maharashtra tourism developed and what steps Maharashtra Tourism Development Corporation has taken for the development of Maharashtra tourism. So the Maharashtra Tourism Development Corporation was formed in 1975. Its main objective was to give a boost to tourism. So the corporation has built tourist hotels at 47 places which can accommodate more than 4,000 tourists. And many private enterprises also render hospitality services. So there are various facilities provided to the tourists who visit in Maharashtra. Now let's see, do you know? Students, you will be shocked to know about an unusual village of books. Bilar is a village near Mahabaleshwar known for natural beauty and sweetness of strawberry. So we know Mahabaleshwar, strawberries are more popular. Now it is also known for the village of books. So one of the village in Mahabaleshwar, that is Bilar, and so that village is known for the books. Every house in this village has maintained a library of its own for tourists to read. That means every house has a small library outside the house where tourists can pick book, read and keep it again. Maharashtra state government has implemented this scheme with a view to accelerate the reading culture. Moment for the reader, tourists to enjoy the beauty of Marathi literature, enriched by the works of old and new authors and saints. It includes the types of texts like biographies, autobiographies, fiction, that is imagination, poetry, literature by women, literature on sports, literature for kids, etc. And if you go to Mahabaleshwar, make it a point to visit the Bilar village as well. Students, you would like to know about the cultural tourism as well. India has rich traditions of folk arts, festivals that are arranged to promote such art forms. Traveling to see such festivals come under the cultural tourism. Visiting historical places to get a glimpse of local culture is also cultural tourism. It also involves visiting reputed educational institutions and understand their traditions, as well as traveling to see festivals and celebrations in different parts of the country. Then traveling to participate in various music, dance festivals as audiences is also part of the cultural tourism. Now let's see, do you know? Mahabaleshwar and Panchgani are hill stations and thousands of tourists arrive here. And I'm sure many of you must have also visited Mahabaleshwar. These tourists are accompanied by guides who provide relevant information on the sightseeing tour. At some places, photographers are present to click nice snaps for the tourists. Then horse keepers provide horses for horse rides and horse cart rides. It is the local people who are engaged in these activities and they can earn good money for their services. In short, tourism becomes a major source of their livelihood. And so, tourism has become one of the leading industry in the world, which is enhancing or increasing the country's economy. So students, I end here now. We have finished learning the 8th lesson, tourism and industry. Go through the lesson once again. Goodbye and take care.